Yo, what's up guys, it's Zach. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you some fits which I've prepared for tomorrow's event. So it's going to be tech-free cruiser. I've focused mainly. We'll be using the Varga and stuff as well, or the Paladin or whatnot if we need to. But generally for these events I like to stick to the tech-threes, especially for nullsec now, since we're going to be roaming around when something fairly cheap but effective at the same time. So if I just show you the fit super quick. And right there it is guys, so we're rocking 800 DPS flat off this. We've just got ACM drones in the bay, just obviously for null set in case we get captured or whatnot. Yeah, so it's decent damage, and the good thing about the Loki a lot of the time versus the Tengu is that it does the same amount of damage with all ammo types, which is really nice. So yeah, we've gone for the cloak, the expanded probe launcher, just in case we need to scan some nerds down while running sites or whatnot. 3-slot tank, so we've got an amp, a multi-spec, and a large shield booster. And really looking at it, I think we might be able to put a Tech 2 amp on there as well. I don't really want to go back to the market and check, but could be an option for you. Cheap afterburner, a Thucker large cap battery. It's got to be a Thucker one because it doesn't fit otherwise. And we are using 1% implant for power grid for this fit as well. So just keep that in mind. That's why I've got a few spare in there, just in case we need to switch out. And we've got a web for the application, which the hams will really need since we're not using any rigs for that. And we've got ballistic control systems, which give us that 800 DPS. AM shield reinforcer because there's going to be lots of lasers. So may as well just buff up the biggest res that you're going to need. We've got a rocket fuel cache partition 2, which gives us extra 5 kilometers over the standard flight time of this. So 25 kilometers with the rage. That's really nice with the Tech 2 ammo. And we've got a medium capacitor control circuit too, just to help a little bit with the cap, since there will be quite a few newts. Are stable, I believe, without that on. I don't know, 15 minutes, yeah, so basically stable-ish, but yeah, it's definitely going to be some newts in the sites. And that's the subsystems, which were just discussed. Again, the dissolution and the wake limiter is mainly just for the slot layout. And we've got ammo with drones, some synth blue pill boosters just in case. But yeah, that's the Loki. Alright, here's the Legion. Let's take a look. So I've noticed, just on a minor tangent here, the subsystem Loki, it looks like it's got the ham sub on, which is really weird, but when you go to the fit in here, you can't actually see it's got the proper like RSN sub for the liquid crystals, which is really strange. But yeah, let's go over this super quick. I'm sure you guys know what a standard sort of Legion looks like. So it has got a couple of shortfalls than the Loki, so we did spend a little bit extra money on it. And a couple of those things is the Fed Navy Stasis web. Basically that's just because the range on these is like 10 kilometers less if you want to do some decent damage. If we switch to the Scorch, you can see we're doing less than 500, but it's just less. I mean, 500 is fine, especially for down here where you're not going to be sort of competing for sites, if that makes sense, where like in high sec anyone can sort of jump in. So you really need to be dishing out as much damage as you can to get that like overall DPS on the boss or the last hit, however they're going to be working at this time. But yeah, it's still a decent amount of damage, and it's also instant as well because lasers, which are nice. Yeah, so it's pretty much just the general stuff. 3 DPS mods, 3 tank with a reactive, so we've got a really good base like AM resist anyway, and thermal, so it's just going to get even stronger once that reactive starts kicking in. And for the rigs, do we do anything special there? Just more tank, basically. So I've got a pretty pimpy medium armor rep, a C-type on there. And with those nano pumps, it's doing like a decent amount of reps. So 755 every 9. If we just switch those off, just so it's standard. It's got 557, so you can see it's a big chunk more tank when we've got those on. But yeah, I think they're pretty flex. I don't think the sites are going to be like mad for tank. Maybe some of the tech ones where the oracles come, they can do like some pretty big alpha, but I think like that rep will be absolutely ideal. Although we can only see, right? I mean, like I say, this is just prepping. I doubt the sites will be exactly the same as last year, but who knows? And that's just the subsystems, which is pretty standard. All right, that covers the Loki and the Legion. Now we just need to jump clone up the Jitter and spend a shit ton of cash on a Tengu. All right, guys, we've just jumped up the Jitter and spent an absolute fortune on this Tengu. Let's take a look. So this is what I generally use for doing like these events and things. So it's a HydraPolarized, well, hang on, how we're saying this, it's a HydraPolarGu, if you could call it that. So I have got the implants in, which we haven't got plugged in yet, because I wanted to show you sort of like a before and after effect of that, because the Hydras are absolutely insane. Did a full video on them, just showing you how like ridiculously overpowered they are. They're crazy for missile ships and drone ships too. So yeah, let's take a look. So my thinking is anyway, Do as much damage as we can with the least amount of tank as possible. So looking at this, we're actually over tanked right now because usually I'd only use one shield booster, and you will see that it is actually a small, but we do run it with these operational solidifier tech 2s, and they give the HP cycle 1.3 seconds, so it's like absolutely nuts. Standard, it's 2 seconds, so it's almost twice as quick, and it does actually make a big amount of difference. So we do rep like 257 HPs a second, and I was just chatting to T in there about we can't actually put mediums on this because if you look, we're like way over capped, and usually I don't use a cap battery like at all, and that's one of the reasons for having like just one of the shield boosters. You can see it's like mega stable with just one. But since we're going into the site blind tomorrow, although we've all got an idea of what the site's going to be, just in case there's a few little tweaks and changes, I want to go over tanked a little bit. And I say over tanked, I mean I've got 0 resistance because of the polarized launchers. So what I'm thinking is just give it a try, and then what I'll probably end up doing is dumping one of these shield boosters for like another X-type amp or something, or maybe even some more application, because even though we're going to be using the Hydras, like extra application on harms is always nice. So we'll get a max flight time of 25 kilometers with this, and the really cool thing about the Hydras is that you can be super lazy and not bother changing ammo, even against frigates. Like these Scorch tech 2s will just absolutely melt. But yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. So you can see it's like 6.9 bill all in. And you might think that's a lot for just the Tengu, but having the clone here ready for like other ships and stuff, so it's more like I didn't just buy this clone for this Tengu, I will be using this for other things. I lost my Hydra clone a little while ago due to ultra lock and low sec, which I was pretty sad about. But yeah, it's a nice, and they're pretty expensive as well, but they're really actually worth it. So let's we'll just do it live here, guys. We'll just plug these in, just get them all lined up here, and I'll show you the range. So it's 25 right now. Plug in, here we go. I'll show you the hardwires in a sec as well. Right, so now with Tech 2 ammo, we're sitting at 34 kilometers. Like, how insane is that? Absolutely nuts. And if we're just, is that a 5? Yeah, oh, we're going to have to consume it just so I can show you the damage. It's 100 mil or whatnot. So right now, we're sitting at 1,670.3 DPS in a cruiser. Now that's just nuts. I love this thing. It's just absolutely mad. I've done loads of videos with the HydraGu, the PolarGu and all that sort of stuff, and the damage is really nice if we're heat. Let's have a look. Nearly 2k, man. That's nuts. So the way I did this last year, the way I was thinking, because obviously the Marauders will probably always steal your kill if you're like in a just a standard fit tech 3 with like sub 1k DPS, and unless you got the last hit or whatever, or however CCP are working it. And like with this thing, you can actually compete, because you got to think like even paladins and stuff using Conflag are doing what, like 2.3, 2.4k, so there's a good chance you're going to get there. And like golems are going to be doing tons of damage as well, but their cycle time is a lot longer than yours, and you can just burst up and get the loot. So always heat on the boss. Again, that's using like 100 quid's worth of, well, 100 mils worth of implants as well, and heated, so 1670 generally. But yeah, I really love this thing. I did a video on the ultimate Tengu, and it was just absolutely, it was like way over 2k DPS. It was just nuts. Love this thing. I love pushing it like really high. Right, so I was going to go over the hardwires as well, since we did get some of those. In the hardwires, we do have heavy assault missiles 6%. So that's the best one you can get there. It's really expensive, like 700 mil or something. And the 5% one's only 126. So yeah, don't go wasting your money on these 6%. So I did that for the application ones. So we got prediction and precision. So they're 5%. The rapid launch, again, I just went the 6%. So we do get like a 2% increase with those two, stacked of course. And I've got the Pyro Lancer drug there, which I need to obviously buy a few more of, just for when I'm running. This is just meant to go like super hard for a little while. And again, the clone's going to be sitting there for ages. The Tengu I'll just sell after the event's done. So it's just a little bit of an investment, and obviously a bit of content to make for you guys to have a look at. But yeah, if you haven't seen the polarized Tengu before, like step aside, it's totally crazy. And we've got the nice skin on it too. But yeah, that's today's video, guys. Just a super quick one. Hopefully I'll be able to get a few sites done before I inevitably get ganked in this thing. So if you see us around, yeah, give us a shout, and I'll see you tomorrow.